Hey everybody, thanks for joining me again to talk about home-based balance rehab, a review of the literature. In this video, I'm going to dive a little deeper into talking about falls and fall prevention. So I mentioned in the previous video that during the course we talk a little bit about fall risk factors, and what that means to your treatment plan, how you would kind of follow along a certain path depending on what risk factors are present. So I'm going to talk a little bit about a couple of the risk factors, or not so much risk factors, but the interesting interventions that you can put into place based on what your findings are. So the first one is very just integral to the home care clinician's process. It's an environmental assessment and home modifications. So a lot of you are probably thinking, well, duh, that's what we do basically every visit. We're going in their home, we're assessing their environment, we're recommending certain modifications, all that stuff. We're already doing it. But what was really interesting about what some of the research said was that it's not so important what actual modifications you make. Falls were reduced in some studies by simply doing an assessment and making a recommendation to a patient. So this could mean several different things. It could mean that really just getting that engagement from the patient and the caregiver is what the important factor is. You would have to look a little bit deeper into what other factors could be at play there, but it's a very interesting point to take, that you don't have to actually modify their environment. You just have to have a conversation about it, and you can already start to reduce their fall risk and the actual falls that people are having in the community. The second one is a follow-up phone call, the power that can have. And this goes along similar lines to what the environmental recommendations would do. So I'll give you an example of one study that we talk about during the course. So a group of people were given a home exercise program, and their Berg balance score was measured at the start of the study. Then half of those people were given a weekly phone call that lasted about 15 minutes, and during that phone call, the person discussed how they're doing with the exercise program, if they had any questions, if they needed help with anything, if they had any concerns, things of that nature. And they were followed up with weekly. So the phone call group had an increase on the Berg balance score of 6.3 points compared to the group that didn't have a phone call. Their Berg balance score increased 3.9 points. Now you might be wondering, okay, what does all of that mean? So the Berg balance test has a minimal detectable change of between 5 and 7 points, depending on number one, which study you look at, and number two, what their initial score was. So if they make a change of between 5 and 7 points, that means that that's significant. That's clinically significant. You've changed their balance for the better. So the group that just simply received a follow-up phone call and no other intervention improved by 6.3 points compared to 3.9 points in the non-phone call group. So that's pretty powerful stuff. So again, it just speaks to how engaged your patient is with what you're doing. Really matters. It really matters on a grand scale for their overall health, for their fall risk, and for their overall balance. And then the last one that I want to touch on during this video is footwear. So I'm not going to say too much about it, but spoiler alert, everything that we've thought about footwear is basically correct. So we do want people to wear shoes. They are the best choice, but there's reasons for that. And a lot of the times, you have that one patient that just can't get rid of their slippers. They're falling apart, they have holes in them, but they just won't get rid of them. And something that we can really do is educate them. Educate them about the importance of proper footwear, why they need to change it up, why they need to get a new favorite pair, things like that. can't say that we're going to change that one that just won't get rid of it, but footwear definitely is an important factor, and we dive a little bit more into the research behind that during the course. So if you're interested, check it out, and I'll be back with more little tidbits from home-based balance rehab. Thanks.